Yeah, just okay. All right, friends. Welcome to NMBF Coffee Chats. This is a discussion forum, essentially a Christian discussion forum. But along with topics that we discuss for our community, we also have topics that are meant for the greater society. For our friends of other faith, also we include them, and we are so glad if some of you have joined today. So today together we uh, are facing a challenge: air pollution, which is really a growing concern, all over the major cities in India. And I think we are still waking up to how what a great threat it is to all of us. And as we shared in the write up, it starts with coughing, wheezing, but it can also lead to long term diseases like asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lung cancer, and can fatally affect some of our children, elderly, and individuals with pre-existing respiratory conditions. So we are so glad that we have Dr. Mathew here with us, Dr. S P Mathew, senior consultant, MD physician, and also associated with Lung Care Foundation. So, just a quick introduction about Dr. Mathew before we dive into this topic. Dr. Mathew is a consultant physician at Ashok Hospital in Borivali. He did his MBBS and MD medicine from Seth GS Medical College and KM Hospital in 1996. He is also the medical director of Shalom Life Care, a private partnership firm. His vision is to bring Shalom of God into the healthcare and everywhere. He is the lead facilitator of MTN Health Stream. He is also an elder at the Living Hope Church at Borivali. His interests include fitness, whole person care, environmental stewardship, and photography. His wife, Dr. Vinita Mathew, is also a medical doctor, and he has three children. Okay, over to you, Dr. Mathew, to lead us in this session of air pollution and how we can protect our lungs. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, and it is indeed a privilege for me to be able to talk on this topic, which is very close to my heart. I'll just give a brief introduction of myself, and before that, what are we going to talk on? So, we're going to talk today on air pollution and protecting your lungs. And at the end of this, I'll be giving you several practical tips that will help you to ensure that you stay healthy. So, as Abhijit mentioned, I'm a physician practicing at Ashokan Hospital, and this is a picture of what I'm doing in my clinic. I've got an air quality monitor with me, which I'm holding there for you to see. I'm associated with Doctors for Clean Air, which is a movement of doctors all over India who are trying to fight for our basic right to clean air. And Lung Care Foundation is a organization under which the Doctors for Clean Air comes. And the Lung Care Foundation was founded by a cardiac surgeon who, when he was doing heart lung transplants, discovered that the lungs of even young patients were already quite black, even though they were not smokers. And that's when he realized that air pollution is actually affecting our lungs to a great extent, and we don't even know about it. So, in this talk, the agenda that I'm going to present today basically is first of all understanding air pollution in urban environments. Then, what is the effect on our health, especially on our lungs from these air pollution? Then, what are the medical approaches that we can take for lung protection and care? The fourth thing that I'm going to speak very practical steps for individuals and families. And then the fifth one is the faith, community, and advocacy for clean air, in which I'll also mention why I am doing this, the reasons. Because as adults, the why is very important when we look at anything that we do. So I'll just go to the next slide. Basically, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is understanding air pollution in urban environments. So, as you know, the major sources of air pollution are vehicular emissions. Vehicles in Mumbai emit pollutants that significantly contribute to the city's air pollution levels. And that's where it's so important for us, if possible, to use public transport and reduce the use of private vehicles. Or you can use like metros, or we have the National Urban Transport Program, whereby we have a lot of electric buses that are running on the streets of Mumbai. So these are ways in which you can take care of vehicular emissions. The second major cause of pollution, air pollution, is industrial activities, and they release various pollutants. But we have the pollution control boards. So the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, or the MPCB, is responsible for regulating industrial pollutants. And you, as an active citizen, can read up more about what they are supposed to do, and by your concerted joint efforts, you can make them to do the job if you feel that they are not doing it in your area. The third major source of air pollution is construction dust. And as you know, a lot of societies are going in for redevelopment and things like that. So there is a lot of the redevelopment construction projects happening. Not only that, even the roads and various other things are also being built. So for construction dust, there is a ruling in the Bombay High Court which says that if there is any redevelopment construction going on, they are supposed to install water sprinklers to reduce the dust that goes into the air, the particulate matter. We will talk about particulate matter in the coming slides, but construction dust is something which also you need to be aware of. And if there are any redevelopment activities going on somewhere near where you are staying, then you can definitely read up on what are the regulations that are present for your protection and ensure that these are followed at the redevelopment site that is close to you. Another major source of pollution is biomass burning and organic pollutants, in which, as you know, people burn a lot of things, garbage, they burn old wires to extract copper, they burn rubber, and there are heavy fines for all these things, and most citizens are not aware of these things. Burning of these materials can release carcinogens into the atmosphere. So the High Court has fixed a very high fine. If you are aware of somebody who is burning, you can go to them and request them to stop the burning, and also click photographs and make sure that justice is done for this. Bird droppings are another big source of organic pollutants, especially pigeons droppings in buildings, and they are known to cause very serious lung diseases, which is why a ban on pigeon feeding has been brought about in Mumbai. Of course, there are a lot of people who are protesting against it as well. But for human health, it is very important to avoid exposure to pigeon droppings. Then fur and other animal products also can fly around, especially for those people who have pets at home. And if they're allergic to it, it can cause problems. Then there are volatile organic compounds. We will talk briefly about how to combat these things in the practical approach to combating indoor pollution. These all contribute to air pollution and affect the respiratory health. Now, just talking a bit about what types of air pollutants are there, we have something called as PM10 and PM2.5. So, particulate matter 10 is 10 microns in diameter, and particulate matter 2.5 is 2.5 microns or less in diameter. So these are tiny particles. If you look at how small they are, look at the size of a PM10 compared to your hair. So that is one strand of hair which is shown over there. And one PM10 is almost 10 times smaller than the hair. And the PM2.5 is again 4 times smaller than the PM10. Comparison to a grain of sand is also shown in the illustration. Another cause of air pollution is nitrogen oxide. So nitrogen oxide, it contributes to smog formation. It is a product of vehicular emissions as well. Sulfur dioxide is another pollutant which can cause acid rain, and it can irritate the respiratory tract. Ground level ozone again damages lung tissues and decreases lung function, impacting breathing. Now, in urban air quality, there are trends and statistics that are very important to understand. Air quality monitoring systems track the air pollution levels continuously. And in Mumbai, we are blessed to have a lot of air quality monitoring labs and research stations around the city. And there are sites online where you can actually track the air pollution at your area. Pollution level fluctuations do occur due to factors like traffic, especially as you know, the traffic fluctuates. In the morning there is a traffic which is generally southbound, and in the evening there is a traffic which is usually northbound. So these are timings which affect the traffic. Weather and industrial activity also require constant analysis. There are certain high risk periods for pollution, and these are the times when you should try to avoid going outdoors or try to remain indoors. And there are certain needs for interventions which are essential to improve air quality and protect urban population's health. I'm sure you must have read in the papers that in New Delhi there has been efforts to do cloud seeding to get rain to fall, which they hope will reduce the air pollution to a certain extent. So, what are the health impacts of air pollution on the lungs? So, there can be short term and long term effects of air pollution. The short term respiratory effects are irritation and symptoms causing coughing and wheezing. In those who are prone, it can also cause exacerbations of asthma and bronchitis. And these need quick recognition and care. So it's very important to visit your doctor in case you're feeling any of these symptoms. There are long term consequences of these pollution, which again are quite dangerous. Prolonged exposure significantly raises the risk of chronic respiratory diseases like COPD and lung cancer. And there is an impact on child lung development as well, because children's lungs are larger compared to their bodies and they breathe in more. So the effect of air pollution is more on children. So these are the vulnerable populations which are at risk from air pollution: children, the elderly, individuals with pre existing health conditions. They all face higher health risks and require special attention. That's why it's important to identify high risk populations and target care which is directed at them. What can you do to protect? Now, there are certain medical approaches to lung protection and care, which is my duty as a physician to inform you about. So, early detection and medical screening is very important. So, when you do a routine medical checkup, it enables early detection of health issues before the symptoms worsen. So, lung function testing is another very important thing which you can do, which will help you to identify the condition of your lungs. And this can be done by any pulmonologist or chest physician. We routinely do it at Ashokwan Hospital, and our chest specialists are very capable of early detection and treatment of lung function abnormalities. So, timely medical intervention allows for timely treatment and prevents disease progression and complications. So, the early detection is most important in such cases. Another important thing which you may not be aware of is that every person, especially adults, should take vaccines for the prevention of influenza and pneumonia. The influenza shot is a once a year flu shot, which is called, which has really helped me. I take it on my birthday so that I don't forget it. And previous to taking this flu shot, every year I used to be sick with the flu at least 4 or 5 times in a year. And that would really disturb my schedule. But after I started taking the flu vaccine, it has really given me a much healthier life. I would encourage all of you to take the flu vaccine from your nearest clinic or chest specialist or doctor. The pneumonia vaccine, now we have the latest Prevnar 20 vaccine, which is a once in a lifetime vaccine. Earlier, there used to be the Pneumovax 23, which had to be taken once in 5 years. All these vaccines, especially the pneumonia vaccines, are recommended for people above the age of 50. Or if you are younger and you have diabetes, chronic kidney disease, or heart disease, then it is recommended to take the vaccines. Also important that if you have asthma or COPD, take proper treatment and monitoring monitor your peak flow at home so that you know when there is a dip or a reduction in your lung function, and you can take appropriate treatment with your doctor. Now, what are the practical steps for individuals and families? Now, these are some interesting things which you can do for yourself at home or where you work. So, as you know, home air purification and protective practices are available. Air purifiers. So, air purifiers effectively reduce the indoor airborne pollutants and improve air quality. A disclaimer here is that air purifiers will work only if your room is closed and sealed. Because if your windows are open and air is constantly coming in and out, then the air purifier's effectivity will be greatly reduced because it cannot keep on purifying the air which is constantly coming in fresh. If the air intake to the room is controlled, then the air purifiers can work very well. There is another way in which air purifiers are used, which I will show you later. The second is to close the windows on pollution days. So when you close the windows during high pollution days, it prevents the outdoor pollutants from entering indoors. The third is to have a clean indoor environment. So basically, make sure that you do your regular uh, cleaning of surfaces, ideally with a wet mop so that it doesn't fly, or you use a vacuum cleaner. If you just do a regular sweeping, what happens is that the dust all starts flying around and then it settles everywhere. So it's not really helpful to do dry sweeping when there is a lot of dust. It is good to do a vacuuming or a wet mopping. There are some other practical actions that you can take. One is to avoid smoking and not only quitting smoking or never starting, but even reducing the exposure to second-hand smoke. So now legislation in India doesn't allow smoking in public places. There are certain places where you can actually smoke. So be aware of the legislation and the rules which are there to enable you to be safer. The second important thing which we can do, everyone can do, is to stay physically active and to breathe deeply. So, regular exercise strengthens both heart and lung capacity and improves oxygen use. And breathing exercise, such as diaphragmatic or deep breath techniques, can enhance lung efficiency and reduce stress. And aim for at least 30 minutes of activity a day, like brisk walking, cycling, swimming, any aerobic activity, so that when you do those exercises, you take a deep breath and you take it out. So your lungs are actually getting exercised because lungs are like balloons. So they constantly expand, inflate, and deflate. So if you don't take deep breath, then slowly the capacity of the lungs reduces. Then you can reduce exposure to air pollutants. You monitor the local air quality. Like I said, I'll show you how I do it at my clinic. Avoid outdoor exertion on high pollution days. Improve indoor air by keeping the spaces clean, ventilated, and free from mold or harsh chemicals. Especially this mold is very important in Mumbai because there are damp patches on the walls. So what happens is that these are the patches where fungus can grow, and then the mold from the fungus spreads in the air. This can be very dangerous, especially if you have high blood sugars. Also, try to avoid using harsh chemicals because sometimes while cleaning in your enthusiasm, you can use very strong chemicals. Actually, you should use the dilution that is mentioned in the chemicals instructions for use. Another interesting thing is, apart from using air purifiers, is certain indoor plants. Also, you can support policies for cleaner communal air. So these are some practical actions which can be done. Now, what I do in my clinic is that I have this air quality monitor, which now, as you can see today in my cabin, the air quality was showing 13, which is very good, and the PM 2.5 was 8, which is again a very good quality of air. And the HCHO is the volatile organic compounds, so that is also at a normal, very low level. The carbon dioxide is also at a good level. The temperature is at 23.4 because it was air conditioning on, and humidity was also good. So everything was green in this air quality monitor. This small thing which I'm holding in my hand is the air quality monitor, which is from Prana Air, and I can share details of where you can get it online if you on the chat if you anybody requires. We will have a short Q&A after the session where you can note down what you want to ask. Now, also I want to show you something interesting here. See, on this right side on the of this picture, there is something which I fitted on the wall. So this is something which is done with a core cut. This is an air intake fan which has got a HEPA filter. So what it does is it takes the outside air and it pushes it into the room after filtering it. So usually what happens in closed rooms is that the carbon dioxide level increases because there is no fresh air which is coming in, especially if you have an air conditioning which is like a split AC, which is just cooling the existing air. You don't have any fresh air coming into the room, then the carbon dioxide levels can increase. That's why I put this thing, which is this white circle you can see on the. I will just try to magnify this part. Yeah. So can you see that this white circle on the wall? So this is what actually is a fan, and outside there is a filter, which can be replaced or cleaned every few months, which traps all the outdoor dust and it pushes in fresh air. So in closed rooms, it brings in fresh air without letting in the pollution. Some of the interesting things which you can also do at home are to put indoor plants. So which are the indoor plants that you can put? So some of the indoor plants which are proven to be beneficial are aloe vera, then Song of India. This is another plant which you can see over here. Then you have this plant which is called the aloe vera, the English ivy, and the broadleaf lady palm. These are also proven to be effective for reducing volatile organic compounds and purifying the air. Then you have this plant which is called as the rubber plant and the snake plant. So these are all indoor plants which don't require much of sunlight, and they are also effective in reducing the indoor pollution. Then you have the bamboo palm and the peace lily as well. So these are some of the plants which you can put indoors, which will really help to improve air quality. Now, at the same time, outdoors, these things happen. So this is a photo of what I took from Ganpat Patil Nagar, where I was going for my walk and I saw that there was smoke arising from one of the gullies in Ganpat Patil Nagar some years ago. I went there to see what it was, and I saw that they were burning the copper wire to get the copper. So they're burning the insulation over there. So I went to them and I politely requested them to stop burning this because this is carcinogenic and it is dangerous for your health and for your children's health. And of course, the smoke was going all the way to IC Colony, and the people in IC Colony were the ones who were suffering. So immediately they brought some water and they doused it and they said sorry. So this is something which I feel as individuals you can definitely do. So don't worry about it. Just go and just reflect, ask them politely, can you just stop this because it is dangerous for your health? Rather than going and shouting at them, just go with an attitude of just being their friend and go and just politely request them, because ultimately they are also human beings. They're doing it for some economic reason or whatever it is. So let us be mindful of that and just try to stop whatever can be done, because everywhere you cannot expect the police or the municipality to go. You can definitely do that. In addition to that, the National Clean Air Program targets a 40% reduction in PM10 levels by 2025-26 by curbing vehicle and industrial emissions. So the NCAP actually has been effective in introducing electric buses in Mumbai. So most of the electric buses which you see in Mumbai, you will see the NCAP logo on it. So that's the electric buses which have been introduced by the National Clean Air Program as part of this aim to reduce PM10 levels by 40%, which is good. And we need to aim for further reduction in this. The Delhi Air Pollution Mitigation Plan 2025 introduced measures like restricting non-compliant vehicles. So you must have read that vehicles which are older than 14 years are now not allowed into the national capital region. Then they are also deploying anti-smog guns and regulating construction site dust, like I mentioned, using water sprays and things like that. Citizens can contribute by supporting clean energy initiatives, adopting public transport, reducing personal emissions, and participating in local environment monitoring drives. So I'm glad to say that in our area we have the New Link Road Residents Forum, and we have done a lot of work in the ground level at air pollution. So please join any agency or citizens group in your area which is doing some work in this, and definitely that will help you and your family. It's also important to recognize the symptoms and seek timely care in case you are getting any of the symptoms which I mentioned, like cough, breathlessness, chest heaviness, because this air pollution can also trigger not only chest problems but also heart issues as well. So it's important to seek timely medical consultation early, and that leads to better diagnosis and improved health outcomes. I'll talk briefly about faith, community, and advocacy for cleaner air, because as adults, it is important for us to understand why we do what we do. So, for me personally, as a Christian, I feel that it is my duty to be a good steward of the health and environment because the Bible says so. It talks about faith and creation care, and Christian teachings call for protecting creation as it's a sacred duty and it's an expression of a faith. Because the Bible says that faith without works is dead. So, you can say you have faith, but if you don't work towards it, it is as good as dead. So, caring for creation is one of the things that God has told us to do, and that's why I do it. Health is a divine responsibility. So, caring for one's health is considered an important responsibility in Christian stewardship. And Christians are encouraged to protect the environment and to honor God's gift of nature because ultimately it's not we who have made this earth, it is God. So, God has given it to us to care for and protect it. That is why it's very important. And breath, our breath is a universal sign of life and it signifies the very fact that you're breathing shows that you are alive. So, in all faith traditions, breath symbolizes both physical vitality and spiritual presence. So, caring for air quality is therefore caring for life itself. And creation care emphasizes loving, relational, and therapeutic care of the earth. And our role is stewardship, it is not ownership. We don't own the earth because I see that there are corporations which are just hell bent on mining and destroying the forests just to get some commercial profit. But stewardship aligns with sustainability and using resources while ensuring that future generations thrive. Because now there is a lot of unrest in the Gen Z because they are seeing the way that the older generation is just consuming and consuming without any end. And they are worried that when they grow up, will there be anything left? So, under the C40 Urban Nature Declaration, C40 mayors, there are a lot of cities which are committed to establish ambitious nature targets to achieve climate resilience and create an agenda for people and nature to support one another. There are awareness campaigns supporting vulnerable populations and environmental actions like cleanups, tree planting are being done. Connect with something which is near you. Encourage advocacy and collective action. The power of advocacy is very strong. The Doctors for Clean Air, the National Lung Care Foundation, they are doing wonderful work in improving air quality and public health awareness. Collective action by communities, your community, your societies, enhances impact and drives sustainable environmental change. You have a voice which God has given you, and you should use it. Promoting cleaner air protects health and ensures a better quality of life for everyone. So, in conclusion, protecting the lungs and caring for our community, its importance, the medical care importance, the prevention practices, and community action are all very important for us to ensure that we breathe healthy lives. So, thank you for the patient hearing. And now I'll hand it over to uh,
Yeah,
Abhijit.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, Dr. Mathew, I think some of your previous slides were not visible, the fonts. Can you just show it once so in
Which
case
slide
anybody,
do you mean?
the first two, three slides, I think
Okay, I can share
I
the
mostly,
thing, the PPT
okay,
with you all, so that will be more
all right,
useful as a
yeah, yeah,
reference because
the,
there are certain things which you may need to refer to
okay,
later on as well.
all right, okay, okay, fine. All
Hmm.
right, friends, we will now